Hey YouTubes, it's a Tuesday, it's third day, and I'm out in the woods today, going to start a fire. Some of the other saints are working on other projects, and we've got a lot of downed timber here, very old, very dry, and it's just a fire hazard in general. Plus, when you burn a fire and you leave the ashes are good for the soil underneath. So I thought I'd show you what I'm trying to accomplish today. So here is where I'm starting. There's a lot of small dry wood all consolidated in one area with some dried leaves, and yes, there's snow on the ground, so you have to kind of counterbalance that. And it's been a while since I've made a fire like that, so I'm going to try my first idea is to lay down like a little bed of dry stuff to start my fire on, so that it doesn't just burn right onto the snow. And so that's what I'm doing right here. I'm trying to get some sticks down on the ground, kind of parallel with each other, and I've got plenty of supply here for these kind of things. So here I'm back in part two. This will be several little video series. I did cheat. I brought some paper and stuff to start this fire with, because, you know, I'm not out here mountain manning it. I want to get this fire started, but I also wanted to show you something else that you can do should you find yourself out here like this. This tree in front of me is a cedar, this little one right in front of me. And so what I'm going to do is scrape some of that cedar. The cedar bark is supposed to be a good fire starter, and I'm going to use that as a nest to start my fire with. So as you can see, it peels off pretty easy. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll show you the results of that in a minute. Okay, so here I am a few minutes later, and I wanted to show you I've made my little teepee, as it's called, and right in the very middle of it, right over there, is some tissue paper, and then right on top of it is a little bit of that shaved cedar bark. I know you probably can't see it, but it's there. And then as I zoom out, you can see that I've stacked a bunch of very dry sticks on there, and they vary in size. And I've got other sticks laying around, as you can tell, that are like pencil size. And so if this starts going, when it starts going, then I'll start feeding the bigger fire or sticks onto it. And I've got my matches and a possibles bag that I carry on me that has like a knife and some gloves and some trimmers for when we're walking around the property and we run into things that like these brambles right here. If you can see them, they're very stickery, and whenever we see them, we cut them down. We've got tons. It has a medicinal property to it, but I don't need 100 acres of it, so we cut that. I'm okay right now, and I prefer matches over a lighter, because in the cold like this, a lot of times the matches work better than the lighter does. The lighter doesn't always want to, the propane doesn't always want to ignite. And so I get my matches in here to my paper and get that lit, and then see if my fire lay is gonna do the trick here. I've got one of these stickers stuck on my shirt. This is one of the hazards of being where we are. They're always there to get in your way. All right, we had some conflagration, and now it looks like it's dying down. But the wind has picked up, so that's helping a bit. So we're getting a little bit more flame there on the very, very small dry sticks. And then it looks like the cedar bark's taking right there. And it's starting, and then it's starting some of the smaller twigs, as you see. Yep. Okay, this is what we want. It's time for me to start putting some more of the small twigs on there. Okay, so I had to start it one more time, and I did the same basic thing. I put a bunch of tiny sticks. The first time the fire started, but it didn't catch on enough, and so I made sure I compacted everything in there. And when it gets to this size, a lot of people don't understand how quickly this fire burns and how much fuel it needs to keep going. And so they'll think it's good and they'll walk away from it without feeding it anything else. And you have to get bigger and bigger, because that's what's going to keep your fire sustained, is when it's got to burn through a lot of material. So you need to go to bigger and bigger sticks. But if you walk away from it and don't keep feeding it, fuel is one of the things that a fire has to have. It has to have heat, it has to have air, which is why you make it in a TP shape so air can get up underneath it, and it has to have fuel and a chemical reaction. And a lot of times if you have water, too much water, that's what kills that chemical reaction, and then your fire won't go. And so what I'm doing while I'm filming with one hand is breaking off the dry sticks that are right here. This is actually a downed limb from somewhere, and I'm feeding this fire with these downed sticks. And anyone who goes camping, excuse me, anyone who goes camping and camps over a campfire will tell you you need a lot of wood. If you're cooking, if you're heating anything up, if you're trying to keep yourself warm. And so don't underestimate that if you go out in the woods. Make sure you have a big old pile. And when I say big, I mean 2, 3, 4 feet, 6 feet of piles of wood of different sizes. So if you need to start your fire, you have little teeny tiny twigs like this size over here, all the way up to the logs that if you look on the back side of the fire, that log's going to catch when this fire moves that way. You need to have all those lengths so that you can treat your fire and not have to keep running back and forth, back and forth. All right, YouTubes, that's it for right now. I'm going to get this thing going, and then maybe later we'll do one more little video of how big it gets over time, because my aim is to burn everything in this area. Hope you're having a great day. Shalom. All right, YouTube, here is the result of our little teeny tiny fire. I have picked up a lot of the broken logs that were in the immediate vicinity. This guy here is too big for me to move. It's a pretty long guy. If you see it, it goes all the way back that way. So I'm not putting that on the fire. I don't want to spend all day waiting for that to burn down, and I can't break it off. But this, I've been able to clear out a lot of this area around the fire, and to include putting in some of those nasty briars. And it's a goal for this winter for us to do this all around the property, to kind of get it cleared out just a bit and to improve the soil underneath it. So I can warm my hands while I'm waiting for this fire to burn down, and hopefully you're staying warm too. Hopefully this really bad weather for this winter is getting to be over. It is mid-February, and right around this corner is planting season. Blessings to you. Shalom.